AI and how it is much more like a child than we
Can
think.
those machines become our teenage children, that look at us and say, Daddy is so annoying, but I love him?
So the thought is that even if a AI is more intelligent than every human, we can still control it.
We don't want to control it. You never control anything. This control idea is a corporate capitalist view of the world. We never actually control anything at all, right? Think about your day. I know you came today. I think you were filming in the morning or whatever. Very stressful day. How much of that day did you actually control? Did you control the traffic? Did you control your timing? Did you control the angle of the cameraman? Did you include? But so many things that you don't control eventually turn out to be fine, right? How many of us ever controlled our kids? Ever? Zero.
Sometimes the kids don't turn out to be fine. Sometimes they kill you.
Sure.
I watch a lot of documentaries and true crime. Sometimes they turn around and shoot you.
Sure. And what's the difference between the two?
I don't know.
How you parented them.
Sometimes.
Almost all the time. You may not be aware of exactly how you messed them up, right? And unfortunately, parenting is the only high-risk sport that actually does not require a driver's license, okay? And it's quite interesting, how many of our children are being exposed to things that can completely mess them up. But there is a reason why they're messed up.
So on this point, though, so we can control an intelligence that is significantly...
We can appeal.
We can appeal to it to make sure it doesn't kill us.
For sure. The challenge we have today, as I keep saying, is that our dystopia is not the result of AI turning against us. Our dystopia is the result of humans telling AI to turn against us.
Where's your mind go?
I don't like the idea of pleading to technology to not kill us.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too chill.
That's my first reaction. But yeah, I don't know, man. That's interesting stuff.
Yeah, I think that's that point of control. I think that's a powerful one because I do think a lot of people they crave control so much that it ends up actually causing them more pain than anything else. Because most things, he's saying, nothing can actually be controlled. So it appeal to hey guys, it'll be just fine. But yeah, I definitely think that the stakes are seemingly very, very high, where I also think that you got to think that people would be more willing to discuss like systemic change because of the stakes here, right? Especially if he's saying stuff like that, you'd be hopeful. But yeah.
What about what's your take on the parenting thing that he said too? Like,
I think it's so hard because parenting is such a complex task. And there's no one size fits all because each person is unique, right? That's why it's such a difficult thing. Because I know that some of the same experiences that I went through could have very easily led me to being a really bad person. And I would have been able to justify it, right? But I was able to gain consciousness at a younger age than most for whatever I consider consciousness. There's still plenty of levels I got to go. But I was able to see why behind the curtain a little bit more, I would say, than most people. And so I was able to use what would have been a justifiable reason to make me really shit to try to make me the best that I can, right? And so then it's such a complex equation. I do agree with his point where he said it's the only high stakes sport where you don't need any sort of license. We talk about that a lot. We're like, man, it should be. I don't know how you solve that at all, but it's one of those things where I definitely do agree that parenting is such an important thing. And I also think that parents can get a lot from parenting as well. And I think that this whole push for people having less kids is also a big reason for why there's so much doom. When you're around a child, it's very hard to be unhappy. When you see the joy on a child's face and they're just genuinely curious going through the world, you realize how dumb most of the shit we cry and complain about really is. Right? And I think like, a lot of people are not getting that experience now. And I get to have that whenever I see my little niece. And I know that like I've seen what it's done to my sister and my brother-in-law, that they're happier than they've ever been. They got no sleep. They're struggling financially and they're over the moon, which is so beautiful. Cool. Right? So I think that that's another thing too, where I think, like when you're thrust into a position of authority, you kind of rise to the moment. I think a lot of people haven't been forced to rise to the moment. So selfishness is still a very big thing because people don't have kids.
Super real, man.
That's a very interesting point here. We lie to our children from day one. Look at the Santa Claus in the whole Christmas, Easter thing. We're talking about basic traditions we lie to our children about. So that's a philosophical question there too, right? Is that lie bad? Are all lies bad? That's so hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I definitely think that the Santa Claus thing is a pretty unnecessary lie.
Yeah.
Personally, because it's one of those things where I don't know, like I think subconsciously that probably messes with you because you don't usually find it out from your parents either.
So the pain is finding out that the lie was a lie.
Yeah. And from someone else. Right. So you're like, wait a minute. The heck, what's going on at home? Like, what's good with the people I'm supposed to trust the most?
Yeah. What is the purpose of that? Why can't the good things be coming from us?
Yeah.
If you decide to do gifts or whatever.
Yeah. Like you got kids going to school, getting their worldview shattered by their peers when they realize that Santa Claus isn't real.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Thought.
That's totally fair.
Some lies are just myths. Not sure all of those are bad.
Lies for fun are a different thing. I'm not saying that it's not a lie. I'm just saying, like, do people, like, I think most people would probably say that they think that the Santa Claus lie is pretty harmless. But it depends on how you look at that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that one's a tough one, man, because it's like, it's something that you get so excited about, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's a big part of your childhood. At least for me, it was. I was like, oh, you know, but my parents also didn't really do that with me. You know, maybe they did for a while, but then they were like, this is from dad, you know, on that thing, on the gift.
Totally.
So I thought that was hilarious. It's funny to think about it in retrospect, but yeah, like, yeah, I don't know. Interesting stuff. But
it's definitely silly. Like the whole Santa thing is definitely funny. Like it's like, and then collectively people just do it because it's what they did. It's what happened to them, right? So they just keep doing it. So it's definitely a thought-provoking question.
I feel like we talked about this once on the pod already, but like the way I realized the tooth fairy wasn't real was that I didn't tell my parents, but just put my tooth under the pillow.
And no money came.
That's
awesome.
I was like, why is my tooth still here?
That's wild. Yeah, see, sorry, is that the end of the story?
Yeah.
More.
No, that's it.
When for me, my similar story would be Santa Claus. Like I knew Santa wasn't real, but I thought you stopped getting gifts if they knew that you knew. So I was like, I'm like pretty old, and my grandpa's like, "You still believe in Santa, Ben?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do, man." Because I thought if I don't, I don't get gifts.
That's funny. That's actually pretty good. Because that would be potentially logical. It's like, look, if you don't believe,
if he's giving me the gifts and
he's
you guys
not
keeping that going, do those gifts go away when I stop believing? But yeah,
that's hilarious. But yeah, it's also that idea that like the parenting that you do, like I don't know if I totally agree with him. I mean, there's certain things that, like, okay, it might be no, because even genetics, like, but maybe you count that as parenting, right? So like the genetics that I passed to my kid with the partner as well, like that combination creates a certain disposition in the child, and now I'm responsible for everything that child does. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, I didn't create my genetics, you know what I mean, or their genetics, my partner's genetics.
Yeah. That creates another complex question of, because I think every collection of people, genetics, predispositions, all this stuff creates unique challenges, but are any of them truly unsolvable? I think that comes into question, right? Because as a parent, is it saying that you didn't have a really hard hand? Like, no, you might have had a harder hand, but was it possible to like get something good from that? Do you know what I mean?
Right. And I mean, there's an argument obviously to be made that you could do everything directionally.
Yeah.
Right. But then that doesn't mean that you don't still have edge cases.
Definitely. And then that comes into philosophy again, like, what's your lens of analysis? Does the end outcome be the only thing that matters? Then in turn, it wasn't the right thing that you did. It's tough. It's an impossible question to answer.
Yeah. Yeah. So Mo, I would push back on you that
It's almost
everything that
always
happens is
parenting.
up to the parent. Because
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way, brother. Like you can once again, but I think his point is you can point to something that happened
Mhm.
while you were a parent,
Yeah.
right? That led to whatever
Like
occurred.
the snowball effect of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's deeply connected to a lot of things, but I think now more than ever too, because I think I would have agreed with him more before we had access to the technology that we have now in terms of information. You
Mm.
can change your path and course on your own a lot more than any time in human history, right? Like you can get into a different belief system, and if you are who you spend your time with, you can spend your time with pretty well whoever you want online, right? So I'm not saying you should spend all your time online, but who you do spend time with online really, really does matter and shapes your reality. So I think there's a lot of people who like use bad parenting as a justification for a bad life when they could change that if they really wanted to. So difficult point.
Yeah. It brings me back to a book I read last year called Genome by Matt Ridley. And he outlines, it's breaking down the human genome. It's a really, really good read. It's older, but it's really good. And the reason it matters that it's older is because like genetics has improved massively since then.
Yeah.
But the point that he makes towards the end of the book is making the distinction between determinism and fatalism. And so fatalism is this idea that like basically no matter what, you're kind of like your genetics in this example will lead to whatever outcomes you'll have in life. But determinism is more of the idea that your genetics do put you in a position to where things can go a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
but there's things that you can then do to react to your genetics, right? That will change the outcome of your life. And once again, it's I'm using that example because he's talking about genetics in the book, but he's not just talking about genetics, right? So there's a distinction between fatalism, the belief that the future is sealed no matter what you do, and determinism, the idea that your actions have causes, but what you do still matters and shapes outcomes.
Got it.
So, anyways, it's just
That's
like
super
some
interesting.
philosophy for people.
That's
Yep.
great. So, some good comments in the chat. Like what a sale said, maybe Santa Claus is the first lie they know you will find out. So it's a lesson in life that all things are not as they seem. Interesting perspective. And then another great point by Helio Font saying the world can also just randomly and suddenly alter the trajectory of a child, right? That's totally beyond the control of a parent. Also, when you send your kid off to school, like what can a parent do about the trauma that takes place there too, right? And then Mary said, parents should not be 100% responsible as children have their own identity early on, of course.
Hey, you made it to the end of the clip. That means you're probably enjoying this. And if so, just know that you can catch us live every Tuesday and Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to see the full version of this episode, you can click the link in the description down below. Otherwise, YouTube thinks that you will enjoy this next.